Hi, everyone. My name's Chris Condo, Principal Analyst with Forrester Research. Thanks very much for joining my presentation, Forrester's View on VSM 2022. All right, so today our agenda is going to be a quick review of VSM, or Value Stream Management, the state of VSM adoption. We've been doing some research on the state of VSM, where things are going. And we've learned some very interesting things about value stream management adoption that I think will help the folks that are tuning in today to understand where it's at and where it's going. Kind of an influx of new VSM vendors. This is kind of exciting. More interest drives more demand, which drives more investment in new solutions. So that's always a good thing. Choice is never a bad thing. And then what's next for VSM and where are we going? So this is a quick overview, right? Uh, this is a delivery value stream, right? How the sausage is made, basically, right? You start with a business request. The business submits an idea, it gets approved. Some documents get created, maybe a design, a development build, the whole thing, right? Stage, deploy, business values delivered. When you add up all these things in this classic value stream, you get these lean metrics, the idea of lead time versus process time. Um, if you've been tuning into value stream management, you know a lot about this map and this idea. Um, a lot of folks that work in value stream consulting, what they do is they start with a map, right? They try to help you solve your software delivery issues or whatever you're trying to solve in a value stream kind of way with a value stream map. So the map is a really good, tangible way to understand your process, to understand, what's going on in your process, and really how interconnected all these different teams are. And that's really an important aspect of value stream management. The idea that business starts with an idea, but then it goes through a lot of different phases, a lot of different teams to actually deliver the value and realize the value. And the idea behind value stream management is really to try to create that in a holistic kind of view, right? So hopefully it's doing that. So here's kind of like value stream management applied to Agile and DevOps. And I've got a very development mind on my, that's what I think about. That's what I write about, software development delivery, modern application delivery. Agile and DevOps is always top of mind. And one of the most important things that I think gets conflated is value stream management and DevOps. They're very different things. They can be combined in a single solution, but value stream management should be thought of as an overlay on top of your Agile and DevOps tool chain. With value stream management, the whole idea is you're plugging in to those DevOps tools, and this is only for software delivery. If you have other kinds of value you're delivering, maybe it's a legal document, or maybe you're trying to generate an idea, your process will be different, and maybe the tools will be different. But in the software delivery space where I live, these are the tools of the trade. You have analyzation tools, right? Like what's going on? Let's look at our data. What's the need? Planning tools, Jira or version 1 or Azure's planning tool, right? Or maybe you don't use a planning tool at all. Maybe you just use GitHub issues to manage things. Building, right? The whole idea of CI and CD, test automation, and then operate, how you operate your software, whether it's in the cloud, from your own data center, and most likely a hybrid of both, right? And so the idea is you plug into those things, you grab data off, you understand how the value flows through these different processes. You can get some analytics to understand how to improve my process. But when you have all this data coming in to a sort of common data model that can normalize the data and understand how, say, an idea gets transformed into a plan, gets transformed into code that's built, transformed into code that's running. When you have that, then you can apply some interesting uh, analytics on it. You can do, for example, DORA metrics. You could get like, what is my frequency of release? What's my cadence? What's the end-to-end, time to get something from the beginning of the pipeline to the end of the pipeline? You can calculate all those things very interestingly with these value stream management tools. You can also do other things with value stream management tools. You can get flow metrics where you try to understand, what am I actually delivering out the door? What's actually being delivered? Am I delivering technical debt? Am I fixing that and not innovation? Am I getting new ideas out the door? So with value stream management, when you start instrumenting all your development tools, you can get a lot of interesting analytics by simply getting all that data pulled together and understanding where things are going. And you can even do some governance, right? You can understand, like, as data's flowing through, you can maybe apply some principles that, like, hey, uh, this particular software didn't meet all the needs of our best practices. We're going to halt it and maybe put it through an approval process, even though you don't want to do that in continuous delivery or in an automated system. Maybe there are some types of issues that are just too risky to let them go out the door in an automated manner. Maybe value stream management can help there as well. And so that's the goal. That's the ideal behind value stream management, is that it plugs into your software delivery tools and gives you newfound intelligence that you didn't have from these tools being siloed. The other thing that value stream management has a really good promise for is, how does value stream management inform the business process, right? So today we have a lot of businesses that do annual budgets. They earmark projects to be completed during the year. And what do we find out? Like, hey, that project 6 months in isn't as important as this new project that just cropped up. Or that thing that we're working on, it turns out that, like, someone has already released that product. We need to accelerate. We need to put other stuff into this new product because we're behind on our delivery plans, and we need to speed things up. Or maybe we've become so efficient that we're actually ahead of budgeting and we have to wait. And so the problem with the annual budgets is they force everybody to do whatever's in the budget, whether they want to do it or not. It forces them to go back to the budgeting team to say, hey, I need new stuff to get done because because we didn't think about this project in January, but we're thinking about it now in July. And it really slows the whole process down. It also isn't a very intelligent way of managing your business. An annual budget assumes that you know exactly what you're going to need at the end of the year, but you don't know that really. Because if you're really doing things in a truly agile way, you're doing things small, iterative loops, you're learning as you go, and you're figuring out what you need to do throughout the year. You don't know ahead of time. If you know ahead of time what you're doing and what you're going to work on for that whole year, guess what? You're not agile. You are waterfall. And that's just the way it is. So, what's a modern team do? Well, they try to build some governance into their roadmap, right? They deliver, like, rolling budgets on a 12-month basis. They have 18-month budgets. They have strategies. They have architecture. They have top-down guidance. They have all these things they're trying to do to prioritize and take the best guess. Then they stick them into the value streams and they get delivered. That software gets built. Maybe there's metrics that are saying what the resource load is. Maybe there are metrics that saying things are on time, they're not on time. That's a different issue that we're trying to talk about right here. And then when you get into that agile delivery and you can bring it back and you can measure the value being delivered, you say, hey, is that value actually being realized that we thought it was going to be realized? Are we actually delivering on the promise that we want to deliver on? Is there something different we should be working on? And can we adjust our funding on a regular basis to make sure that we're not just marching down some road, whether it makes sense or not? So the interesting thing that we're seeing is that when people do apply value stream management to their software delivery system, they can take that data back to the budgeting team and say, hey, listen, we don't want to have earmarked projects anymore. We want to have pools of money for making strategic difference to our product. We want to be able to have the ability and the leeway to be autonomous and say, if the strategy is to improve customer experience, we want to be able to choose throughout the year what it means to improve customer experience. If the goal is to shift to the cloud, we want to be able to choose how best to get to the cloud as we're moving to the cloud, because maybe it's new and we don't know everything that we need to know until we jump in there and get there. So value stream management is really helping a lot of companies rethink that whole top-down strategic planning process that happens at the beginning of the year. What are we going to do this year? Well, guess what? You don't always know. You have, instead of thinking about the projects you want to do, you think about the goals you want to achieve. We need to improve our digital experience. We need to get more customers on board. We need to get off our old platform and onto our new platform. Those are metrics that can be measured. Allow the teams that are delivering that to have the leeway to make those decisions. Value streams can help you understand whether you're delivering on that value, what it's costing to deliver you on that value, and how to adjust as you move forward. So here's where we are in adoption. It's not that great, all right? It's sort of the same place we've been for the past couple of years. People are still mostly adopting value stream management in this sort of software delivery piece, right? They're thinking about, all right, how do we plug agile planning into CI and CD, into release automation, and how do we get DORA metrics? How do we do flow metrics? And those are good things. because they're proving out the value of value stream management. They're showing that teams that use this tool can actually affect a change throughout the organization. But what we don't see is it actually, maybe improving issue management. We don't see it maybe really getting that value delivered back to the team and insights, because people aren't thinking about value. A lot of the people in this software delivery stream are thinking, I just got to go faster. My management told me I need to go faster, but they're not really breaking down the other silos that are really important with regard to like demand generation, right? I kind of sick of that term, but we hear about it all the time. We have demand generation, then we have to deal with it in our backlog, and we have to deliver it. Well, demand generation is waterfall, right? What you really need is, what are our objectives? How are we going to succeed with those objectives? And are they delivering value? And then that's when you really get value stream management breaking down the wall. So we are kind of stuck in this middle still. The good news is the people that are in the middle are expanding their adoption. They are seeing real value, and they're winning over the other stakeholders that surround them to say, we need to expand our value stream management system. We need to expand our adoption into more value streams. We need to extend it out into release, into ideation, into planning, into budgeting, because those things are taking too long. It takes so long to have an idea approved and then funded and then put into the backlog. It's like, that's taking months. Why is it taking so long? Let's just figure out a way to go faster. So value stream management is expanding. It's just taking its time. So what's going good? I kind of alluded to it already. Companies that start VSM adoption usually expand that adoption. So that's really good. It's proving its worth. The Dora metrics, even though we talk about like, well, those are output metrics. They show you what you're doing. They don't show you the value. Well, it turns out that for many people, that is a really good starting place. They become a good catalyst to reinforce DevOps transformation principles. Like, hey, this is our baseline. Our value stream management tool showed us this is our release frequency. This is our cadence. This is how much technical debt we're doing. This is what we're, how we're working on it. But it looks like we could go faster here. We could go faster there. Here's where we can invest in test automation. And by the way, now that we've got our act together, because we actually do have our frequency down, we realize that our backlog is ridiculously large and we're never going to bring it down. We need to think about how we reprioritize work. So it's really a good conversation starter. So even though Dora metrics, you'll hear about, like, analysts say, well, those are output metrics. Those aren't outcome metrics. Well, they can lead to outcomes. Flow metrics are actually proving their worth as well, right? They help teams recalibrate their priorities towards delivering more value. Like when you realize that your backlog is just full of cruft and that's all you're delivering on, you're like, geez, you know what? All that stuff's not that important. Let's get some new ideas out the door. Let's try those out. Let's be more iterative, and let's be more willing to drop bad ideas from the backlog, even if they've been approved, even if they've been earmarked. If nobody wants them, or if we don't think they're going to deliver value, let's just push them into some sort of archive. Let's put them in the basement or the attic, wherever you want to stick them, and we'll have some junior PM go back over that later and decide, were there any good ideas in this attic? Maybe we can bring them forward in a special sprint just to do like the favorites, the top 10 from the backlog. But otherwise, let's not carry that backlog over and over and over. It becomes a burden. When you hear about teams having teams of 10 people that have to curate and massage and continue to groom their backlog every week because the backlog is so big, you realize they're making a mistake. Flow metrics can help you understand how much you're delivering against that backlog versus new ideas versus value. So flow metrics are proving their worth. So combined, the added adoption, the metrics, the Dora metrics that you get from most of these guys out of the box, and the flow metrics are really like a 1-2-3 punch that are really helping expand value stream management adoption. Where we need to improve? Well, VSM terminology is kind of abstract. I mean, that's kind of on me and the other analysts that write about it. Its values are not that obvious to dev leaders. Like, what do I need value stream management for? Which leads to this next bubble. The discussion of business value streams versus delivery value streams complicates the whole conversation, right? VSM is for them. It's not for me. I'm an engineer. I'm just delivering stories. I deliver technical, microservices. Don't think about value. Well, if you don't think about value, if you don't think about the impact on the users, then you're not holistically connected to the rest of your organization. And if the organization doesn't understand the value in having a dev lead understand impact of the software being delivered, then their organization needs to be completely analyzed by a shrink. Because what they really should be thinking about is, how do I combine the business value, the delivery value, and the business value that's being delivered? How do I get all those things together so that I understand the full picture of what we should be working on, what we shouldn't be working on, how to prioritize, which pieces of software we should continue to invest in, which ones we should divest from, what new ideas do we need to do? So that's where people should really be thinking about value stream management, and the discussion about whether it's a business value stream versus a delivery value stream, it's kind of nonsense. They're both value streams. They both need to be managed in a way that shrinks down the lead time, shrinks down the wait time, and gets it so that business decisions happen quickly, delivery happens quickly. The last one is development leads, and I'm putting this on myself too because I'm kind of a development head, right? We really need to think beyond Dora, right? There's a lot of development leads that think all I need to do is figure out frequency and I'll be fine. Well, when your backlog is 60,000 items, if you think just going faster is going to help you, it's not. All you're doing is adding another lane to the highway. And once you add another lane to the highway, someone's going to put more cars in it. And so what you really need to be thinking about is how can we talk about value being delivered so we can back that into the process to say, hey, I need to invest in DevOps because I need to improve on customer satisfaction. I need to be able to show performance improvements. We need greater resilience. All of these things provide value to the business in terms of less downtime, greater user adoption, faster transactions, lower operational costs, faster delivery of innovation, shorter time to market. Those are business terms that business stakeholders understand. They might not understand frequency. They might not understand MTTR. They might not understand cadence, but they sure do understand money. And so development leaders need to go beyond thinking about speed and velocity and think about what is the value of all this investment. So what's happening? The VSM vendors are multiplying, right? They are they are focused on app dev and Dora for now, but there's other ones that are talking about ingesting data, getting data from multiple sources and bringing it all together. There's vendors that offer VSM with their DevOps tools. There's vendors that serve application portfolio needs. All in all, we've sent out invitations for our latest landscape to 24 vendors. 4 years ago, we only had 8 vendors, and really only 4 of them were doing value stream management. The others were a stretch, to be quite honest. So this is really good. Opportunity breeds competition, and that's good for our users. What's next? Well, we think adoption is going to expand into ideation and planning. We think that because we're seeing it. So it's not I'm thinking it. I know it's going to happen. Um, People are realizing that, hey, we can go really fast in CI and CD. We can really get those Dora metrics down. But if we can't get ideas in the pipe fast enough, it's not really helping us, right? And so they want to expand value stream management out to ideation and planning to really shrink that time, to get ideas vetted really quickly, to get any kind of budgeting that needs to get approved. So that's happening. It's happening right now. Adoption expands to business value capture. One of the hardest things that many businesses tell us is that, hey, we understand these Dora metrics because they're easy to understand, but we don't understand how to calculate the value of, say, a shopping cart when 7 different value streams cross through it. For example, we were talking to a travel company that's like, our value stream starts when we try to plan out a cruise plus a hotel. And then we have to take that through and budget it and create a website for that package. That package then needs to be vetted. It needs to be put up on our website. And then a year later, we can offer it as a travel package. In the middle of that, there's a shopping cart. How do you calculate the value of the shopping cart when there's 15 different travel packages running through that one shopping cart? Those are complicated problems, but those are the kinds of problems that many of the value stream management firms are thinking about. How do we calculate the value? So it's very interesting. We're going to see a lot more adoption, a lot more energy in this space. So it's very exciting. Well, anyways, this is only meant to be 20 minutes, so it's kind of short. I hope you got a lot out of it. What's next happening with our research? We're going to be doing a landscape of all these vendors that I talked about, trying to categorize them by capability. We have a wave coming up to evaluate them. And what do we hope to learn? New approaches, what hurdles people are facing, and which tools provide the most value today. Thank you very much. Again, this is Chris Condo, Principal Analyst with Forrester, and I really appreciate you joining me today. Thank you very much.